Yoga, I don't know, I maybe thought it was just a stretching exercise, and I didn't really think it was for guys, to be fair.
I thought probably that it involved putting your ankle inside your ear or something like that.
A lot of our work is actually, rather than based in a studio, it's about going into the community. So we look to work with organisations and with populations that perhaps wouldn't normally seek yoga.
My name is Laura Wilson and I'm the founder of Edinburgh Community Yoga.
Now, we've used Edinburgh Community Yoga for a number of years now as part of our football fans in training and Healthy Hybees adult fitness courses. And it proved so popular it became a regular feature for all our fitness courses. In fact, it's the one night that everybody is there, no one's sick on yoga night.
I really wanted to bring some yoga practice into our working life and thought I would take the chance of seeing whether we could do something in this lovely big airy space. A grouping of people that want to come every week to practice is growing and growing, and people are very loyal and actually quite defensive of that space and time.
Football fans in training is aimed at men 35 and over who are obese basically, so perhaps yoga's not something they would ever have thought of or tried.
What's really important to us is that we offer a broad spectrum of different classes that means that everyone can be involved in some form of yoga and meditation.
I feel quite included. I am older and I'm quite impressed that sometimes you give 3 ways of doing an exercise.
I was in a really hard place in my life and I needed to regain focus, and so I decided I would get serious, and that's how I found you.
I'm an ex-patient of LEAP, Lothian Edinburgh's abstinence programme. Yoga is involved in some of the relaxation that we have at the weekends there.
We offer classes for vulnerable and at-risk groups, so people with mental health issues or recovering from addiction issues.
I was in a rehab centre last year. Yourself, you came into the treatment centre, and I look forward to every Saturday when you came in.
I've been involved with the Serenity Cafe for a couple of years since I first got into recovery. I didn't really have the confidence to go into a kind of mainstream class, so it was nice that it was being offered in a kind of safe place that I was familiar with.
The service users at the Hive are the inpatients at the Royal Edinburgh Hospital. We've got a regular group that come to the yoga every week and really enjoy the class.
We have people coming back week after week after week stating that the yoga class is a really important part of their recovery.
They come quite tense and they're not dealing with life very well, and they leave the class feeling a lot more relaxed.
I work with 16 to 25-year-olds who have experienced homelessness, some form of abuse, and that need support with various issues. I don't think my clients at any point say to themselves, I need to just relax.
Just physically breathing properly or retraining ourselves to breathe can just have such a profound effect on the mind, on the body.
A day that begins with yoga tends to be a much more positive day. We've made some space down at the reception area, just pushed back the sofas and somehow zone out from all that day-to-day office background chatter. Caroline from Edinburgh Community Yoga has got a really inclusive approach that I really like.
There's a lot that we can do to address and tailor the practice to people that are working in the corporate environment.
Obviously you want happy employees, but also they're much less likely to be calling in sick. They're much less likely to be lacklustre at work. They're going to feel focused, they're going to feel motivated, they're going to feel nurtured and cared for.
We're always too busy, there's always something else to do.
Starting to understand how we might carry stress in the body can just have such a profound effect. And that's just on the physical side. And then we start to have more awareness on an emotional side as well, what our thoughts can do to ourselves or to others, and how much more enjoyable life can be when we're just in the present moment rather than worrying about what's been or what's to come.
If you're getting caught up by oh, this is hassling me, this is what I used to do this and that, I used to, this is a relapse trigger, or this is stressing me out, because stress is a huge thing to avoid, then you might want to think, well, wait a minute, what's actually important here? If I breathe and I just think, you know, I'm connected to everyone else that lives, how significant it is that somebody cut me off in that car, or jumped the queue, or that somebody raised their voice, or you think, well, that's nonsense. You know, it reminds you what's really important, I think, which is essential. It's for me. And
throughout my addiction, you know, I always believed that the lies my head made up, you know, and me doing practicing meditation and yoga, it actually slows my head down, and you know, I can catch that first thought, I can chew it up a wee bit, break it down, and say, well, that's not right, you know.
What yoga can really do is give you that space on the mat to begin to build your own self-esteem and to begin to give yourself that sense of being able to rely on yourself.
It got me through a really hard time in my life, and because of practicing for as long as I did, when I had some challenges in my life, I was able to really be mentally strong and not let my emotions sort of take over. I was a lot more logical and rational with my thought, and I think that has a lot to do with the focus I gained from coming here.
If I'm ever in a stressful situation, that I know I can always come back to my breath, so that's a really useful tool to have just out and about in everyday life.
By asking or teaching the participants to be able to be very clearly in their bodies, to be dealing with sensation and noticing breath, it allows them to take control, to not be overwhelmed by their own thoughts or by what's going on in the mind.
It doesn't matter where I go in my day or where I go in the world, if I have yoga to sort of bring me back and center me, then I can sort of regain my clarity and just kind of take it from there.
The outreach team all have a background in some kind of care work, so social care or experience of working with vulnerable and at-risk adults.
I'm a nurse by background, and at one point I worked in a maximum security prison in Glasgow where I saw unbelievable problems. I'd lived in India for a couple of years and I'd done some work at a clinic that uses yoga and meditation therapy for people with physical and psychological health problems. I started to think, why can't we take this practice and bring it to people in these situations in the UK?
Having worked with children and families in the care system, I was keen to bridge that gap between yoga being a middle class and affluent person's activity and actually something that could become more therapeutic.
Although we'd like to think that yoga is inclusive, I think if you're living in a difficult situation, if you're affected by addiction, if you're living in poverty, it's really, really challenging.
Lorraine's been brilliant at making everybody feel that they can achieve what she wants them to achieve at their own pace. The difference that I've noticed with everybody throughout time has been amazing.
I think, to be honest, it's completely exceeded any expectations that I had. I've been astonished by how connected the people who come to the class already are with their breath, with their bodies.
Not only do we have the skills and the experience within yoga, but we also have the skills and the experience to work with vulnerable and marginalised groups. We realise and we recognise that they have specific needs.
What's brilliant is that you need no experience. Forget about what you think about yoga and just think, do I want to be happier? Do I want some more peace in my life? And that's got to be worth an hour and a half of your time to find out, is it not?
For me, yoga isn't something to achieve, it's much more a feeling or a philosophy or a lifestyle, and that means that it's open for everyone.
I think it's very relevant for people who are going into recovery, people who are maintaining a recovery.
I think for people with mental health difficulties as well.
The clients that are suffering from mental health issues, they don't get a lot of relief from these everyday sort of anxieties and worries. And I really felt that after the yoga session that they seemed so much lighter. One of my clients actually said to me afterwards that she'd felt really safe and it sort of at peace.
By the end of the class, I'm always like, I can't wait to the next one. It's so grounding and it brings a peacefulness, I think.
For me, yoga really brings that sense of everything is okay, and I hope that by offering people the opportunity to experience their body through their breath and that calming of the mind, that they can feel that they're okay too.
For me, it's very exciting to see that people who perhaps didn't think this practice was for them being given that gift and them taking it and running, that they are able then to make that completely their own and to sew it into their lives in a way that makes sense for them. And for me, that's yoga, that's it.
I do, I love it. It just, as I said, it slows my mind down, you know, because I'm a constant thinker. You know, it works, definitely works.
I think the fact that a group of old fat men thoroughly enjoy it and want to come back for more says it all.
The fact is, yoga makes you feel good. That's the thing. It doesn't, you know, you can intellectualize it as much as you like, but unless you practice it, unless you have a go, you won't realize.
I think everybody should try it. You know, I think everybody should try and just unwind, because life's busy, you know, and your head gets busy, and it's just nice to slow down sometimes.